The Dallas Cowboys are playing musical chairs at quarterback. Should they let Cam Newton have a seat? Mike Fisher reporting from Frisco, home of the Dallas Cowboys. And a lot of moving and shaking. NFL cutdown day, of course. And a lot of the moves are involving guys that, listen, they're the 80th guy. They were never going to be the 53rd guy. But some of the moves, like what New England's done with Cam Newton, you're taking somebody that was conceivably the number one guy and making him not make the 53. Now, there are some other complications or some other implications to what New England might really be doing, but for the moment, Dallas's musical chairs at quarterback, they give them, to start with, a healthy Dak Prescott. That's great. Somehow Cooper Rush won the job as the backup guy, so the Cowboys have released the other two quarterbacks, Ben DiNucci, expectedly, obviously, but then also Garrett Gilbert, who for 6 months here was cemented as the number two. And somehow, over the course of 15 minutes, it all blew up. Now Cooper Rush is the guy. Cooper Rush was almost persona non grata for the better part of training camp. And then again, 15 minutes and his entire career gets to turn around. Unless the Cowboys scan the waiver wire or trade market and find something better, which takes us to Cam Newton. Our friend Josina Anderson, fine reporter, very connected, puts on Twitter on Tuesday morning that the Dallas Cowboys are, her understanding is, doing their due diligence and looking across the board at the Cam Newton idea. And I don't mean to poke holes in this at all. One of my colleagues has made this point. First of all, when we, and he says, here's peeks behind the curtain, okay? When we say my understanding is, that's soft on purpose. We're saying that soft and cushy on purpose. There's a difference between saying, source, the Dallas Cowboys are examining the signing of Cam Newton. There's a difference between saying that and saying, my understanding is the Cowboys, you see the softy difference? Second issue in Josina's report, she says due diligence. And yes, that's true. They're doing their due diligence on everybody who gets cut. Everybody you ever heard of and everybody who you haven't heard of. And if Will McClay isn't doing his due diligence on quarterbacks, Will McClay and his staff, Mike McCarthy and his staff, on quarterbacks, given the shaky circumstance that Dallas finds itself in behind Dak, then they should all be fired. So a lot of sound and a lot of fury when we say my understanding and not enough substance. A lot of sound and a lot of fury when we say due diligence, but not a lot of substance. A lot of sound, a lot of fury when we say, as Josina also mentioned, they're looking across the board. 31 teams are looking across the board. 31 teams doing their due diligence. 31 teams have an understanding that they need to do what Stephen Jones says is his job, 365, try to make this roster better. What they really need to examine is, number one, is New England just doing some paperwork trickery here and planning on bringing Cam Newton back and maybe even have him start ahead of the rookie Mac Jones. Although Mac Jones did put up some numbers in the preseason that suggest maybe, just maybe, he's ready. There are other New England quarterbacks that might get cut too that have some validity here. I would note that when the Cowboys go scanning across the league to see who's who, they might look at Jeff Driscoll, who just got cut by the Houston Texans. Jeff Driscoll is a more accomplished quarterback than the guys they have here. Nick Mullins, who got released over the weekend, he just signed, so he's out. But there's that level of guy, a bunch of third-string guys who are arguably better than what the Cowboys have at second string. Due diligence, you bet. Look across the board, absolutely. My understanding is, sure, try to get better than Cooper Rush, yeah. Make sure, though, that the guy that you bring in here has a fit with Dak Prescott. This move, and every move you make now, needs to be Dak friendly. That is to say, you don't want to bring in a rival. You don't want to bring in a threat, necessarily. You don't want to bring in an enemy. Could you bring in a big brother sounding board? That's fine. Is Cam Newton happy in that role? Cam, our impression is, enjoys being a superstar. And I think that needs to be factored in every bit of due diligence that every team, including the Dallas Cowboys, does on him. in Frisco with the Cowboys. Fish out.